Ze gitech mesi. Yeah. Ze gitech mesi. If a person says, "This is my get," we're on Daf Ayin Beis Amud Aleph in the Bavli. If I die,
I have it.
Ze gitech mechayli ze. Or if he says, "This is my get from this illness," Ze gitech la'achar misa. This is my get after death. Lo yomer klum. He didn't say anything. Rashi explains that the mashmos says lichshe avos. You're saying that if I die, after I die, why you can't have a get la'achar misa. But if a person says mehayoim imesi, from today if I die, me'achshev imesi, how does it get? From now if I die, then it is a get. Mehayoim ule achar misa. But if he uses the lashon of mehayoim ule achar misa, from today and after I die, get ve'ina get, then it's a suffix. The question is, what are you saying when you say mehayoim? Is it a t'nai? Is it a condition? So it'll be a get l'mafreya. It'll be a get retroactively from the time that you gave it. Or maybe because you use the words la'achar misa, you're going back from your condition, and you're actually saying it's la'achar misa. By matana, it's possible to have matana la'achar misa. So we could split it up. We could say, it says Rashi, the gufa is from today, the paytas are la'achar misa. By get, you can't say that. There's no two parts like get. So the question is, what do you mean? Do you mean mehayoim or do you mean la'achar misa? So you should have said mehayoim imesi, not la'achar misa. Say mehayoim la'achar misa. Sounds like you're saying after I die. It also sounds like you're saying from today. So therefore it's a suffix. So what does that mean? Practically speaking, what does a suffix mean? The Mishnah explains, if you die, you do chalitza, you can't do yibum because she's suffix megureshes. Let's say he said, this is my get from today if I die. And then he got better. And then he got sick again and he died. The question is, if it's because of his first illness, then it's a get. If he died because of his first illness, it's part of his original t'nai. But if he didn't die because of his first illness, it's not considered a get. The Gemara says like this. We're up to the Gemara now on Daf Ayin Beis. Alma, we see basically that if you say the words imesi, that means kalachar misa. It's as if you're saying it's after I die. Problem is, then later on in the Mishnah we said mehayoim imesi, me'achshav imesi. When we're talking about the t'nai of from now, from today, alma imesi lav kalachar misa. So what do we find? We find that imesi is not considered kalachar misa dami. And horaya, what's the raya that it's not? Because if you do say la'achar misa, me'ayoyim la'achar misa, we said in the Mishnah it's a suffix. So imesi is not a suffix. Imesi means before misa. So how do you explain this? Rabbi Abai says like this: imesi shtei l'shenis mashma. Imesi can mean two things. Mashma k'me'achshav, mashma k'lachar misa. It could infer. It could mean from now, and it could mean k'lachar misa. If you use the words mehayoim, so then automatically it will mean me'achshav. But if you didn't say mehayoim, it's as if you said la'achar misa. It's as if it means that it's after you die. Yeah. Okay, the next part of the Gemara is if you said this is your get, if I die, you didn't say anything because the mashmal says kalachar mitzvah. So what happens?
What do you mean if I die? Everybody's going to die. What's it? What does he mean?
So the question is, does he mean that the get should take place a moment before he dies? Let's say, for example, the husband had a brother, and he didn't want to put his wife through. They didn't have kids, and he didn't want to put his wife through yibum or chalitza. So he just said, "I want you to get divorced a moment before I die." But because he used the words "if I die," he didn't say "before I die." It's not a get, because it sounds like he's saying "after I die." You can't become divorced after you die.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to make much sense if I die. Yeah, I mean,
They do that in the army now. David, do you know?
Oh, to make it tonight with the soldiers?
Yeah.
Interesting. I have no idea. It's a good question. It's a good. It would make sense, and it's, you don't want to have to deal with. On the other hand, why should they? You saying you're worried they won't be able to find the body? If somebody dies, they're worried.
Exactly.
Right. It's probably very rare not to find a body, especially if we're not at war. Probably
maybe in those days it was rare. I mean, maybe in those days it was more common.
Right. I mean, you could have a soldier get captured or something. It's interesting, right? Like, God forbid. It's interesting. I don't know. For some reason, I doubt it, but it would be interesting to find out. If you say Zeg Gittin Chimesi, you didn't say anything. Omer Ravuna Cheletzes. Ravuna says, oh no, shoot. 1 second. Sorry. Yes, what? Okay. Ravuna says Cheletzes. She's not allowed to have Yibum. So what does it sound like? Why does she even have to do Chalitza at all? If we say that it's not a get, if we say it's not a get, if we say it's not a get, she should be able to do Yibum. Why does Ravuna say Cheletzes? So the Gemara asks on Ravuna, we said in the Mishnah, and therefore she should be allowed to do Yibum. And for the Gemara, Layover Klum means that she's forbidden for everybody. But she's also forbidden to go to the Yavim. So the fact that it says in the end, in this case in the end where we say, get that means in the ratio, she's allowed to do Yibum. And for the Gemara, it's true. The Mishnah is according to the Shitas Chachamim. Ravuna was saying his din according to a different opinion. But Ravuna Damar Rav Yosi, Ravuna holds like Rav Yosi. That Rav Yosi holds that the Zman of the star is Mechiach. So for example, if you give him a Tana and there's Zman written on it, that it means Me'ayom, it doesn't mean Lachar Misa. It means from now. If there's Zman in the star. So too by the get, if you have Zman, if you have a time written on it, Rabbi Yossi will hold it's mamish a good get. So the Gemara asks, obviously, if it's Rabbi Yossi, you shouldn't require a chalitza. You should be able to. She should be free to go. She didn't have to go through the chalitza, because according to Rabbi Yossi, if there's zman, if there's time, that means that we know that it's before misa. And for the Gemara, says the Gemara like this: If you're going to try to answer that Rav Huna had a suffix if the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi or not, does Rabbi Yossi have such a suffix? Did he have such a suffix? So the Gemara has a story. Rabba bar Rav Huna cholash. Rabba bar Rav Huna became sick. And Rav Huna Rav Nachman visited him. They asked Rabba bar Rav Huna, halacha could Rabbi Yossi and halacha is halacha like Rabbi Yossi or not? If there's zman, if you have to say a case like Mehayim or Lachamis and there's zman on it, does the time prove is it meichia? So he said like this: time of the Rabbi Yossi lo yadaina. Time of the Rabbi Yossi lo yadaina halacha boimine. I don't know why Rabbi Yossi. The reason of Rabbi Yossi, I don't know. Rabbi Yossi holds that ain't a tzorich that you don't have to give the paytas only lachar misa. You can give the paytas right away. Question is halacha like him? Amrlei ad boy minei halacha v'tam Rabbi Yossi ano amin halacha. So he told him, you could ask from him what the halacha is, but I'll tell you the reason. His reasoning. Zmanish will start mechiach. So the case is like this. Somebody who's kaisav nechasav for your son la'achar misa, you have to write mehayoim la'achar misa. Otherwise, you can't give to one son over the other when it comes to you, because you're dealing with Yerushas. Rabbi Yossi says, "Ein tzorich." You don't have to say mehayoim la'achar misa because the zman of the shtar is mechiach alov. You have zman in the shtar to know that mehayoim you gave the gufa karka so that his brothers won't be Yerush together with him. From that time is the haskola samatana. Second.
Makara.
Okay. So the Gemara goes on. It says like this. So he asked him if the halacha is like, what the halacha is like. Amr lei, Rabba bar Avua told him the din. Hochi Amar Rav halacha Rabbi Yossi. That the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. So then Rav Nachman said, Levasa denofa Amr lei hainu time of the Rabbi Yossi. After they left, he said the reasoning of Rabbi Yossi is like this: the kasover zman is shtar mechichlav. He holds that if you have zman, it's fine. You don't have to say mehayon. The zman alone is enough. Just the fact that you're writing the time of the star is enough to prove that you're giving it from chayim, from while he's alive. So we see clearly that Rav Huna received the din from Rabba bar Avua and the reasoning that the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. So there's no suffix. So if the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, why do you even need chalitza? You shouldn't even be required chalitza. So the Gemara answers like this: Elo maspakale yom Rabbi Yossi balpei lo yomar. If you have a get that you wrote a kilchasi and when you gave it to her, you said Ze gite chimesi, you can't compare it to a star. By a star, where everything is written. So if you have Zman, the Zman proves it's Mehayoim. But what if you gave a get and there's no Tanai written in the get? You didn't say Mehayoim Malachar Misa in the get. It was Al Peh, it was Baal Peh. So Yesh Loimar, Rashi explains, maybe you're Chayzer from the Zman. Even though there's a Zman written in the get, even though there's a time written in the get, maybe you're Chayzer, maybe you're going back from that time.
Retroactively?
Maybe you're being chayzer. Yeah, you're saying I changed my mind about this man that I wrote in the get. Changed my mind about the time that I wrote in the get. So the Gemara says, "We must speculate. Does he have such a suffix?" But now it says in the Mishnah, let's say the husband says, "This should be your get if I don't show up in the next 12 months." But get. And then he passes away within the 12 months, it's not a get, because he only said it's a get after 12 months, and he passed away before. Vitoni Allah, and it was taught, Rabbi Seinu hitirua lehinosi, that the Chachamim allowed her to get married. So how do you explain that? How is she allowed to get married if she doesn't have a get? You have a problem with Chalitza, with Yibum, and so on. Rabbi Seinu, who's Rabbi Seinu that he tiruali nase? It's a bezdin that said that shemen of Eiv Dikachom was allowed. You have Pasakim, Bishalakim, the shemen of Eiv Dikachom was allowed. They hold like Rabbi Yossi that says the Zman of the star, if you have time written in the star, it's proving that you didn't mean La'acher Yud Beis Chodesh. The Zman is Mechiach, if you have time written in it. So we see clearly in that case was similar, that there was time written in the star, and he said a Tanai Baal Peh. And we say that Tanai Baal Peh is not Mevatel, the Zman written in the star. The Zman written in the star is the Iker, is the main thing. So we can't say that his suffix was if it's Tanai, which is Baal Peh, is Mevatel the star. So the Gemara answers, his suffix was if halacha is like Rabbi Yossi Baal Peh or not. In other words, we know what Rabbi Yossi holds, but is the halacha like him in such a case? If a person has a Tanai Baal Peh and there's Zman written in the get, does the Zman overcome your Tanai? According to Rabbi Yossi, it does. Do we hold like Rabbi Yossi in such a situation?
Well, anything that's written should have more validity than oral, something that...
Yeah, because he said the Tanai after, maybe it means you're chayzer, maybe it means you change your mind.
Oh.
Maybe you wrote it all at the same time in the document. The Zman is Mechiach. The Zman proves that that's your main thing. But if you say something later, maybe Taka cancels the Zman. Rabbi Yossi holds not. Rabbi Yossi holds like what you're saying. So the Gemara asks, does he have such a suffix? Let's say he said, this is your get if I die and that I die, or this is a get when I die and after I die. Ain't a get. It's not a get. So the Gemara says like this. What are we talking about? If you say that he said that's not mehayoim, and it's a sheet of Rabbanon, do we need to say such a thing? Well, it's not mehayoim meitzer as a get. It says in the Mishnah, if you say mehayoim meitzer, as long as you add mehayoim, it's fine. He didn't say mehayoim, but Rabbi Yossi, and it's Rabbi Yossi. Shema no, halacha like Rabbi Yossi. We see that halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, even if it's al Baal Peh. And Rava said, Rava said, "Im meisi b'shani meis." It is a get. So the Gemara says, "The Rava pshitile the Rafuna basbakele." According to Rava, it was obvious that the halacha is like Rabbi Ravuna, however, had a suffix. Just because for Rava was obvious, it doesn't mean Ravuna was obvious. Ravuna had the suffix. That's why Ravuna says chaletzes. You have to do chalitza. But if you want, you could say, really, you said hayoim. According to Rabbanan, it's obvious. Rabbanan v'hani lishnit tzricha le'shani meis ki meisi dami. Almost k'lachar misa dami. That if you say shani meis, that's the same as imesi. It's fine. But if you say kisha almost, that's the same as k'lachar misa, and that's a problem. That l'chayr makes more sense. Otherwise, you have a big problem. That according to why would Rabbi Yossi say the lashonis of lachar misa is different than imesi? Okay, so that's the end of that sugya. The Rav Huna says chayletzes. If we say imeti mehayoyim lachar misa zegiti chimesi leyomer klum. Sorry, if you say zegiti chimesi leyomer klum, this is your get if I die. You didn't say anything. According to Rav Huna chayletzes, and we say that the reason is because he's not sure if the halachas are Rav Yossi or not when it comes to t'nai. Even though you have zman in the get. If you have a t'nai, even if you say the t'nai of imesi, is the zman stronger or is imesi stronger? According to the chachamim, it's not a get. It's not a get. According to Rav Huna, it might be a get because halacha might be like Rav Yossi. The Gemara goes on further. Vika damasni la seifa. There are those who teach it on the end. Zegitech la'achar misa le'yomer klum. If you say zegitech la'achar misa le'yomer klum.
Good morning. I want to show you something.
Right? We said in the Mishnah.
No.
But you say this is your get.
This comes out even a centimeter. Then
So what does Rav Huna say?
so that we all have to be careful. I'm not saying you did it.
I think I know what happened actually.
According to Rav Huna chayletzes, you do chalitza. Pshita. It's obvious. From the fact that in the seifo, from the fact that in the end, if you say according to the Chachamim chayletzes, it's obvious that according to Rabbi Yossi chayletzes. In other words, according to Rabbi Yossi is only going to argue if he said mehayoim. If he said imesi, if he said the lashon of imesi, Rabbi Yossi will argue and he'll say zmanei mechiach halav. But if you say la'achar misa, obviously Rabbi Yossi is going to have a suffix. He's going to have a doubt. So it makes sense to say chaletzes if you say la'achar misa. Ma'u detem Rabbi Yossi b'hokar Rabbi Sviralei Domer Gittin Mal Yehave Chalitza Nam Leisiboy. Maybe he'll hold like Rabbi. Rabbi says it is a get, even if you say la'achar misa. So maybe Rabbi Yossi holds like him that it's a get, and you don't need chalitza. Kamash v'lo deloy Rabbi Yisavelo Rabbi Yossi v'lo Rabbi Yossi Savelo Rabbi. But they don't hold like each other. It's two different opinions. Rabbi lo Savelo Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi doesn't hold like Rabbi Yossi. Tiktoni kazeh get l'muta de Rabbi Yossi. He holds this is a get to exclude the case of Rabbi Yossi. He only holds it's a get if you say mehayim. He said mehayoim, even if you say la'achar misa, he holds the hayoim is the main thing. And your megala reveals that you want the get to be lifnei misa before you die. That's Rabbi's opinion. You have to say mehayoim. He holds kazeh get to exclude Rabbi only if you say imesi, not la'achar misa. If you say imesi and you have zman, if you have time written on it, then it's fine. The Gemara asks like this: Rabbi Maihi, what's the case of Rabbi? Titani by Yom Lachar Misa. From today and after Misa, get vein and get the Chacham hold it's a suffix. Rabbi Yom Kazeh get. Rabbi says it's a get. Rabbi Yossi Mai Ditnan Kosvu Kisvu Tnu get Leishlim Lebasim Mekan Rabbi Chedesh. Let's say he said, write and give a get to my wife if I don't come from now until 12 months. Kasvu B'Sechid Beis Chedesh. Let's say they wrote it within 12 months. When also Lachid Beis Chedesh and they gave it after 12 months. Ain't a get. It's not a get. Rabbi Yossi Emer Kazeh get. Rabbi Yossi says it is a get. And the pshat is, he's saying, Kisu, write it now and give it if I don't come. It's a little different than, so it's different than Rabbi. Rebbe's talking about if you say Mayom Malach Misa, it's a suffix. Rebbe says it's not a suffix; it's a get. Mayom Malach Misa is a good get as long as you say Mayom. In other words, we thought to say Rabbi Yossi holds like Rebbe that even if you say Lachar Misa, it's a Gittin Aliyah as long as you have Zman, as long as you have time. No, each one is not like the other. We're talking about a different Rabbi Yossi. We're Medayik from the Lashon Kazeh get that he doesn't hold like Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold like Rebbe doesn't hold like. That's a new case of Rabbi Yossi. The case of if you said Mayim Lachar Misa Kisvu Usnu and then you wrote it within the 12 days, then it's not a get. Okay, I think we'll actually do Yerushalmi now. We're up to Ayin Beis Amud Beis by the 2 dots. In the Yerushalmi, we're up to. Just get the spot. We're up to Halacha Hey in the Yerushalmi. Perek Shishi Halacha Hey. Does everybody have it? Perek Shishi Halacha Hey. The 6th chapter, the 5th Halacha.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start. Mishnah. Ha'imer kisvu get to snu leishi. Someone who says, write a get and give it to my wife. See, I always have to write kisvu snu, write it and give it. Gershua. Divorce her. Kisvu getis snu, or write a letter and give it to her. These are all the shyness of a get, and you should write it and give it. But if you use these l'shaynis of patrua parnasua, that means take care of her. It doesn't mean give her a get. But you should know. Someone who's going to be locked up by the king, he's in such danger of losing. He's so scared he's going to lose his life. If he says to write a get for my wife, even if it didn't say snu, even if he didn't say to give it, he just wrote kisvu, that's enough. Then they said, even if you're going on a long journey or you're going in a caravan, that also is included in someone who forgot to say the last detail, but he meant to say it. Mefarish is in the sea, Shiyot is in the desert. Shimon Shazuri Yom Afam Masuk, and someone who's dangerously ill also is included in this idea. Says the Gemara, Ha'imer Kisvu get the snu ishti v'chulu. Someone who says to write a get and give it to my wife. Someone who says tarchu, it's the same thing as gershua. The Yerushalmi explains, that means food, it means to feed her, it doesn't mean to give her a get. It's not the lashon of a get. It's totally not the lashon of a get. This is referring to koiler. It's not only if you're being locked up because of sakanas nefashis, even if we're talking about a monetary issue, like the IRS being after you. I'm joking. We're not talking about modern jails. Probably much less dangerous than today's jails. Even if it's a monetary thing, all times that you're being locked up, it's cheskas sakana. Okay, so we've established that a get, even if you just say kisvu, that a get, even if you just say kisvu, is like tenu. Oh, so the question is, is matono of someone who's yotze b'koiler like matnas shchiv mirah?
I know. He needs to know exactly where it was. My husband also tried to it's really weird how he's alright. He's a little bit, I'm gonna.
Okay, sorry, 1 second. I'm just gonna try to go to a quieter place.
Yes.
Okay, so the way the Korban explains, matnose ke matna shchiv mirah. let's say you have a matana of somebody's yotza b'koila. So normally a matana needs a kinyan. By a shchiv mirah, you don't have to do an act of kinyan, an act of acquisition. So the question is, what about someone who's yotza b'koila? Does he need to have a kinyan or not? Could he just say it? Is a spoken word enough? Or does he need a kinyan? By shchiv mirah, they're lenient because the shchiv mirah is dangerously ill. We don't want to upset him. So we're lenient that we don't require a kinyan. But what about someone who's yotze b'koila? What is a question for Rabbi Lazar is obvious for Rabbi Yossi bar Tanina. Guys, can you? Okay. Madi tzricha lebelazar pshita beser b'chnin the Tanina Taman. It was taught over there. Isha shenergo. If a woman was killed because she was chayv misa. So generally, a woman you can't have benefit from her stuff. But if she gave it before she died, then in beside, if she has a pe'anochris, she has like a wig, you're allowed to have benefit from the hair. Behemoth shenergo sort of annoyed, but a behemoth that dies, you're not allowed to have annoyed because it's attached to its body. If it was killed because of a chiv skila, like a shura niskal, a shura that's supposed to be stoned because it gored somebody. For example, she said, I want my wig to be given to my daughter. So even without a kinyan, that's the classic case of yotze b'koila. And even without a kinyan, he clearly says, you don't, it's good, it's fine. Kadog Geneva, for example, the case of Geneva. You know, we spoke about Geneva in the Bavli 3 times in Maseches Gittin. He caused a lot of tsar from Mar Ukva. And Dav Zayin says that, so Mar Ukva said, so the answer, I forgot who it was, who answered Mar Ukva, Hashkim Mahado the Besak Knesses, Bein Kolam Alein, and Geneva was put to death. So Geneva, Yisapik Lamikdal, he was taken out to be killed. Amr Yevu and the Rabavuna Zuz min Chaber de Kfar Panya. It says to give to Rabavina Zuz money from the wine of Kfar Panya. It's interesting in the Bavli it says that Adarabah, I think they gave him the money, if I remember correctly. And Adarabah, the reason why he says money from the wine is because to show that there's a chrayis to make sure to pay no matter what. It says here they didn't give it to him. They had a chashash for what Rav says. The Rav Amra that someone who inherits is like it's like a koina. Someone who inherits is like someone who's koina, someone who buys. Just like if you have a milval peh, if you have a oral loan, you don't take from what's bought, land that's sold. So you don't take from the yarshim. So the Gemara asks the obvious question. Well, it's not a debt. He gave a gift. He gave it as a gift. So it's not a debt. He gave it as a gift. He said to give the wine to Rabbavan. The reason why they didn't give him the wine is because there was a chash that maybe the Rabbi Lazar had a suffix. The Rabbi Lazar had a question if someone is yotze b'koila or someone who's going to be killed, his gift is considered like a matna shchiv. There was no kinyan. They didn't do a kinyan. So the question is if the gift is strong enough to be the gift of a shchiv or not. That's why you can't take the money out of the yarshim. The heirs are the ones who are going to get it. I see the Rab Zeda, the Rab Yitzchak, Atoishia, Utnoishia, Utnunle. Rab Zeda, the Talmidim Rab Zeda, so it says in the footnote in the Farshim, brought this brisa to Rab Yitzchak Atoishia and they taught him, Ki Gittin kin matan. Matana doesn't require kinyan. That's a shit of Rab Zeda. Over there, boy, why are you comparing the two? Just like a get, you have to give it mechayim. So matana has to be done mechayim. And obviously they didn't give the matana mechayim. So maybe adrabah. So if you're comparing it to a get, so then you can't compare. You have to compare it all the way. We had a similar discussion in the Bavli. Rebbe's coming. He's bringing out his chachma. He's making Rabavuna lose the money. You can't make him lose his money. It says that if a person says a person's a shchiv meran, he says give so and so this money $100 and he dies, give it after me. Could Reb Shimon which is Reb Shimon says Afamasukan. It's talking about a shtivra, like Reb Shimon. Okay, we're on the next page now. Daf Lam Vav and Beis. The Rabbi Yochanan Polig Yavan Lei. So they wanted to give the money to Reb Avuna. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Demar Rabbi B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan Milva Beidim Nigvis Min HaYorshim B'Vad Yorshin Sheyorsher Karka." That if you have a milva b'yedim, that if you have milva al peh, an oral loan, you can collect it from the yorshim, as long as they have karka, as long as they have property. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, l'choiro, for sure, Rab Oven should get the wine, the value of the wine, as long as they have karka. It's like a debt. He said, Rabbi Yosef says that's only if you were with him until he died. But Pnei Beis has a different girsa. When they heard that Rabbi Yochanan argues and he says you can collect the chayiv, they did give the money to Rabbi Oven. According to this, they did give the money to Rabbi Oven. Now it says Tnu Mona, you have to give the 100, right? We're going back to the Mishnah. The Shtiv Merah said Tnu Mona and he dies, you still give the $100 even after he dies. So the Yerushalmi says that's only if you're with him until he died. But if you left, on the Omer Kvar Yoylet, maybe he gave it on his own. Maybe he already gave it to him. You don't know. Milsa de Reb Chinin Omer de Leyoivlei. From the story of Reb Chanina, we learned that they didn't. Milsa de Reb Chinin Omer de Leyoivlei. Chanina would say not to give him. Chanina Mishtoya in Uvda. Chanina was saying over this story. And Levi Prisa have over minater latar nafkin kreven de gneva mechel imei omer yevel na rabba zuze vis garon lachma. The Kroivim went to go with him and travel with him, and he told them, "Why are you giving the money to Rabbi Avino?" And they were fighting with him. And so we see that they didn't give it. In other words, he said to give it, but it seems like they didn't actually give it. The Kroivim of Rabbi Gneva didn't actually give the money. Very interesting. So this story in Gneva, about the wine that he said to give Rabbi Alvin, made it into both the Bavli and the Yerushalmi. It was well known. It seems like he was from Bavel, but I guess the story made it to Yerushalayim also. So probably the way it was taught in Bavel was more accurate, but actually Yerushalmi has this whole story in the end that they were fighting and they didn't want to give it. The Yerushalmi didn't want to give it. Okay, let's go at least until the Mishnah. Sorry about the noise. Tani af hachoila. It was taught even the choila. The halachas are Gimshim Shazuri when we come to the Masukan. Ma'bin Masukan, Ma'bin Chayla. What's the difference in a Masukan or Chayla? Chayla Kederach Haaretz. Chayla is Kederach Haaretz, which means there's Bikur Chayla. And Masukan goes to Kafatz Alav Chayla. Masukan is if it jumped on it. So, Masukan, a person has less of sound mind than a Chayla. That's why we take his word for it for sure. Right? So holds even if he becomes sick regularly. Derech Eretz Akroivim. Derech Eretz Akroivim nichnosen etzle miyad v'rechikin lachar shleish yamim. The Derech Eretz says that the Kroivim go immediately and the Rechikim is after 3 days. When Kafatz Alav Acheli, Eilav Eilu nichnosen etzle miyad. And if it comes suddenly on you, this illness, so then the Kroivim will visit him immediately. Then everybody visits him immediately. Sorry. Everybody will visit him immediately if he's sick suddenly. Dilma, we have a Maisa. Ravuna Pinchas Rav Chizkiya Salkun. Mevakra lebiyasi basar place in yom tlasa yevin omerloin kivi isin mekaima masniso. The story was that Rav Huna and Pinchas Rav Chizkiah came to visit Rav Yossi after 3 days. He said, "No. Why didn't you come? L'chayda, you shouldn't have waited 3 days. In a Hanami, the Brisa says to wait 3 days if it's not a close person. But you are Talmidei Chachamim. You're my close friends. You're considered like close relatives. You should have visited me right away." Okay. Okay. I think we'll stop here. We'll finish the parak tomorrow on the Yerushalmi, God willing.
Thank you, David.
Okay.